my child's going, and there are numbers, and there's a lot of names in there from these areas. And this is great what we're doing. We're trying to raise awareness because we want to save, you know, I can't bring my son back, but it's going to continue if nobody wants to believe us, you know, but we're trying, so.
I will bring that up in the, I'm sorry, Chris. I will bring that up in the dialogue that we're going to be having in the next, over the course of this year, when we start sitting down and having some open communications between these agencies. I don't know what schools' policies are or protocol.
Well, like me, I work for Hope Church. I know Hope Church would probably support that. You know, it would have to go through a board, but it would give the kids an opportunity to speak out without being offended or scared. You know, and that is a big step. I personally, when I was young, there's nothing I didn't do. You know, so, and I thought, hey, good, maybe that's a good thing because now I'm smart. But now there's so much more out there that nothing that I would even know.
I agree. Thank you. And I will jot that down. Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to say, everybody that's here, talk about it. It's not a secret. Talk about it at your church. Talk about it at your job. Talk about it at family reunions. Because chances are, somebody there knows somebody that is doing heroin. Or knows somebody, oh, they went up on the north side in St. Louis and bought it. They know. It's got to stop being a secret, a dirty secret. Everybody's got to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, Vicki, I think what parents need made accessible to them are drug tests. Not where they have to go to the store and pay $40 for a drug test.
Yes, exactly.
Just so their kid can prove they're innocent. And I, for one, would donate for families that don't want to go out and buy drug tests. Very important. Why look for the signs? Prove it.
One thing I can say about like trying to prove their innocence, my parents did that to me a lot, and I'd always call their bluff, and I usually had someone pee in a bottle or pee in a condom, and I'd
Right.
it and drop it in there.
You sit there with them and you watch them go.
Well, I mean, my parents did that with me too, though. That's just it. It's just you can put it right between your legs where you can just pop it, and it looks like you're using the bathroom.
You won't do it the first time they give it to you because you won't be suspecting it.
I always did. I was always prepared for something.
The gentleman outside, they have an actual swab, a mouth swab that will show.
I would just like no matter what it was, if it's killing kids.
I'm sorry.
The gentleman outside, one of the tests that they use is a swab in the mouth.
Oh, that's a good one.
You can't fake that.
That way you can't fake that. They open their mouth, stick it in their mouth, that's it. It showed like 8 different drugs.
Oh, didn't feel that all.
One of the gentlemen
No,
that's
just
out
stick it
at
in
the
the
table
thing
of
and it shows.
listeners also has drug testing equipment out there, and that might be something you want to stop by and speak with him about as to what's available. Thank you. I didn't realize there's.
It was very informative. He told me they do drops at Dupo High School with the sports program and stuff, and the middle school several times a year. And they do the swabs because then that way the kids can't say, oh, I'm not going to go to the bathroom in front of nobody. They just do the swabs. They stick it in. He said within 5 minutes it tells if they're positive for any of like 8 different drugs.
Okay. Thank you.
I know my family, they actually came to me with a test and surprised me. I didn't know they were going to do it, and you know, my dad went and bought the test, him and my sister, and she went right to the bathroom with me. I mean, I've done the whole condom thing and that before too, but when you come up and say, here you go, right, you know, and your sister walks in the bathroom with you, you have no time to plan. So, I mean, I think that's a good idea if you don't give them a heads up, if that's what you're going to do. Even if they
And if anyone can't afford a drug test, you contact April. We will try to get you a couple. We do know some places in Missouri that hand them
A lot
out.
of drug tests have temperature gauges on them. You can check the temperature because, I mean, I know you can sit there and, like, people put it, like, in pockets and purses, stuff like that. And, I mean, if it's the wrong, it will let you know if it's the wrong temperature and they'll automatically
It's
fail
just
the
a
test.
heads up to make you guys be aware because, I mean, I didn't know with my son, so, you know, if you see your child and you're, you know, there's just a difference between them, you know, not getting enough sleep or nodding off and catching themselves and, you know, I was clueless.
Vicki. I mean, we're here speaking about heroin, but Vicki, we've talked about the hardcore drugs and the prescription drugs. Something I've read about and heard about lately is like bath salts. What's the danger in that, and how bad is it?
K2 as well.
The bath salts we have ran into have really trended off. We're not running into them like we had 2 years ago.
Is it a serious effect?
They have it. I mean, they're using it for a reason. Again, it's something to experiment with. It's something to make them feel a little different. And quite frankly, a lot of our people that we know that were messing with bath salts, they're now into heroin. Bath salts are not exciting at all.
And you have these kids that are going to their grandparents' house after school and taking their Xanax and this and,
You know, I want to assure everyone too, we do get anonymous letters at the police department. We don't go fingerprint them, we can't tell who sent it. We appreciate those. We do get anonymous letters. People drop them in the bill payment box out on the parking lot, City Hall, where you pay your utility bills. We don't have to keep them on that. If you want to mail it to us, we'll take it. We deal with drug agents. A lot of times we get an anonymous letter and it's pages long, and it has a lot of names on it. And it's amazing when our drug unit comes in and we start naming names. They're dealing with the same people in Collinsville, St. Louis, Maryville, East St. Louis. You'd be surprised in Waterloo how many calls we get a year from Centerville PD, East St. Louis PD, Washington Park PD. Do you know this person? Of course we know, they live down here. Well, we've got their car. We've got this, we've got that. People you'd be amazed at that are up there. And that information, that anonymous information, we use it. We want to help this person, but we also want to make this person good sell and go in our community. If they're going to the east side to buy it, bring it back here, and that information helps us make a traffic stop on that car, will we use it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with my son, these people did this 3 or 4 months after my son, and it was in Lincoln County. And it was a brother and a sister, and they actually are in jail for second-degree murder. But my son, and then after, there was 3 more before my son by the same people. So.
They're heroin serial killers, but there's been numerous dealers that have killed 5, 6, 7 people before they've been caught.
Yes.
Yeah, Vicki. My name's Willard Wiggers, and I do drug and alcohol testing. I have tested students at their parents' request that go to Waterloo High School. I'll say this, it's been more than 1, less than 10. And the ones we've tested for or that have been positive has been all for marijuana. Now, I don't know if that's the trend or not, but that's the ones that we
Can
caught.
you detect with your test?
Pardon?
Can you detect heroin or cocaine in
We
this
can,
test?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do them, Oxycontin, and all that.
Would it actually come up separately? Does heroin come up?
Pardon?
Does heroin come up as an opiate, or is there a separate test for heroin?
Yeah, all the opiates we test for.
But so if you did a test and it was an opiate, it could have been something, that doesn't necessarily mean it would have been heroin.
It's out of your system so fast, that's why.
With the testing, I mean, there's a possibility they could have tried it. It only takes 3 to 5
We
days.
test for basically 13 different.
You got a 13 panel drug test that you do?
Test for all the synthetic stuff.
I was gonna say opiates and like a lot
Blackberry,
of drugs take 3 to 5 days to get.
Spices, K2, K4.
You know, I don't know how many times I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, it's just weed or whatever. But had I never done just smoked weed or experimented with this or that, I never would have started shooting up with a needle my first time using a drug. You know what I'm saying? I would have just started with a heroin and a needle, like, you know, building up to it, you know, got me to use heroin. And I think that sometimes it's not just weed, sometimes it's just as important.
I wanted to say with the drug test, there's the possibility that the children who did drug tests have tried something else besides marijuana. The majority of other drugs only take 3 to 5 days to get out of the body's system. I mean, if they're using it on a regular basis, it's definitely still going to be in there, but I mean, there's the possibility of a one-time use, and it'll be gone. Marijuana usually about a month, depending on what it is and all that. I mean, I've smoked one day and tested clean for everything the next.
My grief counselor actually offered free drug screening up in Freeburg at the high school, advice, whatever. And do you know how many people showed up? None. Now why wouldn't you take, you know, come on. It was in the paper, high school letters, no, one person showed up. I don't get it.
Any other questions? Otherwise, again, yes.
I just want to say
Stand
that
up.
I'm 26 years old, and it wasn't that long ago that I was in high school. And I mean, the stuff that goes on, I don't know. But the stuff that goes on in high schools, I mean, will blow your mind. I mean, even back then, I mean, I was selling lines of Oxycontin and lines of cocaine on the bathroom on the back of the toilet at school.
Courtney was doing heroin at Waterloo High School.
And it's just, I mean, I know you guys seem like maybe like, I think of the drug as like a fog, you know, like my area, it's so foggy there you can't even see. And I mean, I know you guys probably drive to Edwardsville a lot. It's not that far from here. But I mean, all my friends are dead. I mean, I'm a sole survivor of my clan of friends. And the ones of us that ain't dead are in prison, or they're still hating their lives right now at this very second. Like what she said about her son, man, you hate what you become. And that's why I walked out, no disrespect to you, but what you said was hurting me very bad because I put my mother and my family through them things. You know? And I wanted so bad to quit. I really did, man. I wanted it so bad. And there's nothing in this world stronger than that drug, man. And it's the devil, man. And the stuff that it brings with it is horrible. I mean, the small stuff to me is like stealing your family heirlooms. I mean, I did that a long time ago, stole all my grandparents' jewelry and stuff, you know. I'm talking about like the first girl I ever loved, I watched turn into a prostitute and work at all the strip clubs that's in my area. You know, and you guys ain't that far away from there, man. You guys as daughters and girls that you love will be driving down there to do that stuff, man. And no one is above it. You know, there is not anyone that is above this addiction. And I mean, it will hit you, and it will ruin lives. And just, you know, you guys are lucky. You guys are a little bit farther away. You can get a little bit of a jump on it, you know. I mean, there's really not that many people here right now for how big of a serious problem this is, man. You guys just get out there and just spread the word, man, because it ruins lives.
One time is all it takes.
Yeah, man.
One time. You're
What
addicted.
you just said really disturbs me because you were talking about denial. It is denial because if you weren't, this room would be filled. This room would be filled if it wasn't in denial. And it is in denial because I can look around and I don't see the room filled.
Well, and then it's not.
Do you know how I look at this? Excuse me, Chris. How I look at this though? You all are here. You made the effort. And if you go out and tell 10 people, and the other people tell 10 people, baby steps forward, big strides. And
everybody signed that at the door now.
we are all appreciative of everybody that took the time out of their busy schedules to get here, and especially of the people professionals that took time out of their schedules to come and talk about it. So, yes, ma'am.
My grandson was in rehab for a year. He was stuck with it, couldn't get out. And but they also had classes for us. And I tell you, you learn a lot when you go to those classes. And maybe that's what they need, is have classes for the people, but you know, you need to get them in here. But, you know, it would help them too, to realize if they're being an enabler.
But even if you were in denial, wouldn't you want to learn about a drug? I mean, I was willing to type in if it was something at my kid's school, I wanted to know it, so it just
Right.
confused me.
But I mean, I can sit there with the kids teaching you how to handle it, so that, you know, you just say,
So maybe more awareness support?
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Young lady, you had a question?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to address those that were in high school. I mean, what can we do different in the schools that can stop you guys from bringing it in and selling it? You know, how do we stop you? What are we looking for?
One person at a time. You know, I mean, you just say no, that's it. There's always gonna be a supply, and there's always gonna be a demand.
I know, but what's the sign? You know, what do we see?
Are
You
kids
guys-
allowed to bring their medication that they're taking, like if they were on
Adderall.
Adderall or whatever, are they allowed to have their whole bottle at school?
They're not allowed to.
They're not supposed.
They're not,
We
they're
do
not
it
allowed
anyway.
to have their medication in school.
Yeah, you know.
Parents can bring medication to school and bring it to the nurse, and then anything has to be administered through the nurse's office.
Yeah, and see, and then that's the parents. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Brandon, my kids, they were 18 years old, get their wisdom teeth pulled. I'm not gonna cut my kid loose with, even though it has his name on it, Brandon Durbin. I'm not gonna give him the Vicodin. I'm gonna, you know, whenever are you in pain? Is it really bad? Here you go. I'm not gonna do that. Don't do it.
And Vicki, if I can say something, everything that has been said up here is critically important to hear. I can tell you that from the school perspective, we're dealing with something that has maybe been more accessible to kids than what you've even been talking about. The kids often refer to them as triple C's. We've had several students that are using cough, cold, and congestion pills. The most popular of them have been available. You get a box for 16 for $5. This is what the kids tell us. They'll take anywhere from 8 to 16 at a time. They get a high from that, and it's extremely dangerous. They're stealing them from Walmart, they tell us. They're stealing them from Schnucks. They're stealing them from Dollar General. You have to be 18. If you're 18, you can go buy them over the counter for $5. And it's a very scary thing. Some have talked about taking these pills while also smoking marijuana. I think what's scariest most about that for me is that they're very accessible to young kids. That, you know, junior high kids aren't generally going to have direct access with marijuana and other heavier drugs, but they are easily coming in contact with these cough pills, which aren't illegal to have. So parents, be careful if your kids seem to be asking for a lot of them. Just question them about it, talk to them.
Doc, did you have something you want to say about that?
Hey, Vicki.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, one comment, as I look around the crowd here, there's a few candidates for the Waterloo School Board here, and I think we here in Waterloo need to give a real serious thought about bringing a virtual Scared Straight program into our school, because when I go home, a lot of these other folks go home, we either look like dad or we look like grandpa talking to the kids. But this young man down here and the young lady up there, I get chills down my back. And these kids from about 8th grade and up need to hear from him and her and a parent. And if we can't begin that immediately in our schools in Waterloo, shame on all of us. We have failed miserably if we can't start a program like that immediately.
Well, as we speak, Stop Heroin St. Louis, along with the gentleman from the National Drug and Alcohol Council that just received grant money, we're going to be talking to the students the last week of April, either the 24th or the 25th, I believe. We're going to nail that down this evening. And we will have Courtney in here. We will have Recovering Addict. Well, if that's on your schedule. And we will have a parent. But yes, that is the next step, is once we did the forum, then we're going, with permission from the schools, which we do have, we're going into the junior high and also the high school. And then...
and they need to see pictures too. Nothing real graphic, but just to say, oh my gosh.
Show the coffee.
We're working on that.
Right there.
That's what I
Show
said,
them.
right there.
Yeah.
We actually have a DVD, John, that we want to show, and with approval again of the administration. But that is the goal. We will be into school in April for junior high and Waterloo High School here in Waterloo. And then the next step is to work with everybody in Columbia and in Valmeyer to get to the students also. What we did was a 3-step program since last September. Waterloo will be the first to finish. We went to faculty, then we went to the open forum, and now we're going to go to the kids. And we're also going to do something probably in midsummer, and I'm going to try to have it at the Annex building, and we'll make that also open again for community members.
And me and April, or did she leave? But we spoke at Belleville West, and they had 2,200 students there, and the principal told me that that was the first assembly that they didn't have to drag a Johnny by the arm out. It was so quiet in that auditorium you could hear a pin drop. Kids were crying. You know what? I'm sorry, you guys, I wanted those kids to cry, and I wanted them to see my son up there on that video, and they felt it. They really did. I mean, I know it touched them because they cried, and the pictures were just, yeah, you could just.
Chris,
We're working on it. We really are, because we see the need, and the schools have been very receptive, the administration, to what I call now a 3-step program of how I just explained it to you, faculty, and then to the open forum, and then to the kids. But we are trying, we are working. Albert?
One thing I think is really great, it's hard to sit down here and listen to you all tell your stories, but that's the only way we'll get it. We haven't lived it, so we have to learn from you guys. If we don't learn from you guys, we're going to get to live it. And some of us are going to get to sit up there and talk about this in a few years.
Exactly. And then the one thing that I'm going to tell you guys is the most thing that people say, and I hate this, and I just don't even deal with it anymore, I don't have the energy to, is, well, she wasn't a good mom. He didn't go to church. Seriously, you guys, or when your kids get, however, 22, 23, whatever, every time from now on, from the rest of their life, you're going to take the blame for everything they do. There comes a point in time where your kids are on their own. We did our best. And you know what? I feel confident in. I know I was a good mom. And it took me a long time to get there. But it wasn't my fault. And I just can admit that.
Chris.
But there comes a point in time where your kids just, you can do what you want, and it's up to them if they want to choose the right path or not. It has nothing to do with my parenting skills.
Yes, sir.
I see this is being videotaped. What are you guys going to do with this videotape? Is that going to be available?
I'm putting it on YouTube as long as it's okay with the panel back in here. I will have it on YouTube.
And how would somebody search that?
I will have it under my page, and I'll probably put it under
Waterloo
High School Town Hall Forum or something like that. I'll have to speak with Vicki shortly.
And also, I'd like for you guys to meet my son. There's an awesome video with music, and it's on YouTube too. And it's you just search Brandon Duran Memorial Video, and it's so awesome.
Can you tell me again? It's Brandon.
Brandon Duran Memorial Video, and it was only on after he passed away for about 2.5 or 3 months, and it was already up to like 843 views. But they took it off because of the music, because the girl that put it on there said she didn't own the music, so she did get it back on there. So
Can you spell your last name?
BRANDON, and then DUREN.
Thank you.
But you guys, if you were a normal family vacation,
I would just like to say, just the school and stuff, how she was saying, how do we watch this? Someone that worked at Edwardsville School told us that several years ago, they realized they were having a drug problem. They couldn't figure out what was going on, how the kids were exchanging it. And they had somebody tell on the people, somebody else that was doing it. They would take it in the bathroom, take the toilet paper off, stuff the drugs in there, tell somebody, stall so-and-so. They'd go in, they'd get the drugs out, they'd put the money in there. That's how the money exchange went. They'd be in a stall with the thing locked, nobody would see the exchange. And that's how they finally busted it. And, that's just something to watch for. for your maintenance people to watch for. Do you notice the toilet paper rolls pulled off? Or a whole roll of toilet paper pulled off, you know, they grab their money and just drop it. Something like that. They're finding ways to stash it so it doesn't have to go from my hand to your hand.
You've got school administration here.
We
And Vicki?
sold drugs through markers when I was in school.
Bingo.
We take the
Sharpies apart.
We take the ink part out of like magic markers and different markers and just stuff it full of whatever.
That's what I was just gonna say, yeah.
Sharpies and different things.
And we have been invited in Collinsville Middle School, but the high school will not let us in.
Either will New Athens. I've been there so many times and they just add.
But the middle school is accepting us with open arms.
Hey, is it really true that only 5% of heroin addicts ever get clean?
Yes.
3?
It is. It's very
It's
low.
very, very low. It's very
I
low.
think it would be very educational to the students to know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when I was a kid in school, I think that would have pushed
And
me
this is
way
our
the
first
other
one,
way.
so actually we're getting ideas from you guys too, which is really great.
Because I was shocked when I heard those
That with,
I know.
that kind of stuff, scare tactics didn't work with me. I mean, I wasn't scared. I mean, I went through the DARE program. I did all kinds of stuff, and nothing scared me. I mean, I was just.
But you didn't know that when you started using.
No, I didn't know that specific fact though.
Well,
But
the kids
I mean, I
believe
knew
it.
a lot of percentages on other drugs. I knew this stuff could kill you, but it wasn't going to happen to me.
Yeah, one
Because it
time
wasn't
really
gonna
I'll be
happen to
addicted.
people
I
know.
can't quit after one
And
time.
then-
Heroin, no, you can't. That's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing, put everything else to the wayside. We're talking about heroin. It's powerful. Very powerful.
And
I
another
gotta
thing
hand
is
it to you, Courtney, you're one of the 3%.
Another thing is that once we
I know, right?
we don't pay attention, we don't
Yeah.
care. And I mean, and if we're using it, it's not us. Because as far as I was concerned, until a certain point, I wasn't an addict and I didn't have a problem. I could stop when I wanted. I just didn't want to stop.
Yeah, do you think my
Until
son
I hit
would
a
know
certain
every time
point.
he was using that might be his last time?
Yeah.
And you don't care. You don't care that you just lost 3 friends in 4 months? You don't care.
Well, I think that fact should be out there. To
Absolutely.
all the students. You try this, you might have a 3% chance of getting off.
And
I think
we
that
do
would be very
armbands if
important.
someone's been lost. And my son just passed away a little over a year ago, and just in Illinois, I got these armbands that work here. You know, I mean, and a lot of them you guys aren't hearing about, so it's way high. My son in 11 was number 78 in St. Louis City. By the time, and that was in November, by the time it was the first of the year, it was up to 117. It had exceeded gunshot wound victims. That's it. I mean, really, when they seen number 1, they should have got on it.
Again, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the administration from the high school, as well as Kelly Lurch, Carrie, her sister, and Brianna Renz for helping put all this together and providing the facility to get everybody together. So at this time, we're gonna wrap it up. These people, the panel will be here if you want to talk to them outside and while you're looking through the tables. And I can't thank you enough for coming.
Guys,
Please
thank you guys so much.
spread the word, and we'll use the media to let you know when we're going to come out again with another open forum, whether it be Columbia, Belle Isle, or at the Annex Building in Waterloo.